There's been absolute insanity in Pallikalle in this Super 8 game between Pakistan and Sri Lanka. The last 2 overs, it's a bit of a daze. Like, I don't think that the people in the stadium have completely processed what has happened. I don't think people watching at home have digested. I don't think we have. I don't know what happened in those last 2 deliveries. I don't know how that last delivery was not a wide. Everyone's a little confused. But we are here to share, if not clear, that confusion on Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur, with me Michael Vaughan and Dinesh Karthik. How was that last ball not a wide, gentlemen? How was it not a wide?
Well, what a game of cricket. I mean, to think that Sri Lanka, I've been sat in there watching, I've got no chance, I was kind of keeping an eye on the football, watching the cricket, and then I thought, they've got a little bit of a sniff because Shanaka's hitting a few boundaries. Ratnayaka played great. But the bowling by Pakistan down the back end, when he started to strike, they just couldn't get the ball in the right zone. But full credit for Sri Lanka. I mean, they haven't won the game, but you could see the crowd. They were on the feet. They were dancing around. Even the execs in the box were kind of clapping their hands. So they've kind of finished the tournament not winning a game, but at least they've given their supporters something to cheer about.
Yeah, the execs in the box were all TRP, TRP, TRP. The thing is, that was cinema.
It was great. We did the combox. We didn't give Sri Lanka a chance, and they came.
They needed about 13 and a half, 14 at that time in the back 10 per over,
and just felt like they were not going to climb that mountain. But it was great to see how close they've come, and they were within touching distance. I don't know what Shanaka was thinking when he was hitting it so well. Why he went for the lap sweep, that penultimate ball. He could have easily looked to just carve it on the offside. God knows he could have got bat on it, and he could have been a boundary at best. But the last 2 balls were very anticlimactic. The shot he chose, and then I thought it was a wide, to be fair. But anyway, all in all,
just trying to be too cute, I think.
Well, if I'm an umpire in that situation, look, neither of them are going through.
Yeah,
I've got 20,000 on the feet. Even if it's not a wide, I'm going a wide. Just like it's like playing in the garden, isn't it, with your kids, and you want to take it a little bit further, the game. Yeah. If I'm in that situation, I'm dragging that out. I'm dragging the game out a bit longer.
The problem is that he's an umpire and he's not a director or a storyteller, because that's the mindset you need for this. You're going, hang on, let me think cinematically. Right? Nothing can happen here, but I can have some fun. But that last, I just think that Shanaka played so well. You don't want to judge him for that, just that little bit. He jumped just a second too early. Shaheen Shah Afridi is just too experienced. He saw it, chased him way down. I'm surprised that it was on the pitch. It would have been off the pitch, and then it would have been something else altogether. Would have been a no ball then, and a free. But anyway, this is what has happened. In the last 2 overs, let me show you the ball by ball of what happened in the last 2 overs. They have hit 22 and 80, so 40 in the last 2 overs is what they've hit. It's just spectacular.
Second time in 2 days that something around 40 has been chased down at the back end. Like yesterday it was 343, today it is 2 overs 40, but they didn't end up chasing. But look at that, they've hit 5 sixes in the last 12 balls. That's a massive effort. And all 5 from the blade of one player, Tasun Shanaka. He was outstanding. I don't think Pakistan were confident at the back end. I do feel there was a bit of dew, so they hadn't enough control or grip to deliver their best balls. Because from what I saw on the last ball, there was a little bit of tail away from the right-hander, which basically means if you had nailed your Yorker once or twice, game was done there. But he went to slow one, length ball, anything but the Yorker. And Michael was saying, you should bowl a wide Yorker. Why isn't he trying that? And eventually he bowled that at the last ball, and it was, that was that. So I feel it is a great picture of how these 2 teams have fared in this competition, which is they've been good in parts, but just not good enough to close it out.
They've been like this. They've been mercurial.
The one thing I'll say about both teams is that it's kind of been a free hit tonight, because there's, all right, Pakistan could have got through, but it was a long shot. And they came out and played great with the bat, because it was like, go for it. They've got to try and find that mentality at the start of a tournament. When it really matters. They're a good team. They've got some good players. They've got to just go for it a little bit more often. Too often I see Pakistan, they're just a little bit circumspect about how to play. They've got to play the aggressive game. They're always better when they play aggressive. And I think Sri Lanka there, I'm delighted for the skipper, Shanaka, because he's had a lot to say. He's had to kind of go into those press conferences, answer a lot of negative questions. He's tried to kind of give a reason why. He said, there's been outside noise, there's a lot of work to be done. He talked about the fitness. So clearly, behind the scenes, it's not ideal for the captain in Sri Lankan cricket. So for him to finish like that and to strike a few into the stands and see all those supporters, look, they'd have wanted the team to go through to the semi-finals. But, I think in the Super 8, when you look down at all the teams, Sri Lanka, Pakistan are down the bottom end, and it's because of the style of play, and they haven't quite got enough of what some of the other teams have got. But that should just give them just a glimmer. Raf Naika is a player that you kind of look at and think, whew. I'm not saying he's Mahela yet, and I'm not saying he's Sangakkara, but you see something there that you can't build a team around one player, one kind of pure player, but if you can find another couple, Sri Lankan cricket can start to just build back slowly. It'll take a bit of time, but at least I've seen a little bit there tonight with the bat that they could build something around.
It's such a good point because Sri Lanka cricket, the team has been under a lot of fire the last few days, especially after they got eliminated. Shanaka had a lot to say. There was perhaps a little bit of anger as well, and sometimes anger can be a great motivator. Sometimes frustration can be a great motivator. It certainly unlocked him today. Some of those hits were, they were hanging in the air for longer than Usman Tariq stopping, right? They hung in the air for a while.
To be fair to Shanaka, I think he's been quite consistent in the last 6-8 months. He wasn't part of the squad about 6-8 months ago. He came back in and he's done very well since then. He was playing under Charit Asalanka, did very well for them. Always coming up with these nice little cameos at the back end. He is their designated finisher and he's done a good job for them.
Yeah.
But I've heard this line that Michael has said quite a bit of times. Sri Lanka, there's a glimmer of hope. If they just keep at it, they'll get better. There is something wrong in the system because every tournament they throw up 1 or 2 new guys, but they're just not collectively cohesive for long enough. Because the two teams I've always heard is, they just need to be at it, they'll get better, is Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. For a long time, you keep seeing them and think, there's something there. But it's just not translating into any sort of consistency in international cricket. Home World Cup, you had you beat Australia but lost to Zimbabwe quite convincingly after that. And then in the Super 8s, you've lost all 3 games. Come on, you're better than that. I just feel that when put under pressure, they need to come up with something like this, which is to play fearlessly to an extent, but also use your brains. I remember the same Ratnayaka that we were speaking about. First ball against England, he just stepped out and smacked on. First ball, he was out in the power play when they were 10-4-2 or something like that. Yeah. And you're thinking, yes, he's young, so you want to cut him some slack, but it's not the kind of behavior that you want to be seeing from your number 4 in international cricket. As much as I would like to think that Sri Lanka will constantly improve from here, for a long time now, I just feel they have shown that in individuals there is a bit of brilliance, but collectively there has not been that kind of unity that you want. And it comes a lot from the security that the administration and the board and everything else provides, because that means even if you have a few bad games, you'd still be around. That gives you the confidence to go out there and express yourself and play your game. If you're going up and down, it gets a bit hard on the player, and in turn, the results reflect that.
Fair enough. Sri Lanka, I think looking at Mahela and look at Kumar, it's not necessarily replacing them. It's just trying to find a consistent batting lineup to play together, and they'll get better over time. You don't win World Cups or ICC events or major test series without bowlers. They're missing Patharana, they're missing Asaranga. If they can get all the bowlers back, I think they'll compete. But
keep them fit,
They don't have a pool like many other countries. They've got a pool of 20-odd players. They've got a small pool of players that they have to do everything they possibly can to keep them fit. And if they arrive at the next ICC event with everyone fit, all those bowlers, I think they'll be more competitive. But with that bowling attack that you see, it's just too orthodox.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really that as a batter can surprise you. Yes, they're quite good, but they're not going to surprise you as a high quality player. So it's getting those bowlers fit, getting a system in place which is a bit more professional to make sure that they come back and maybe rehab better, or maybe it's themselves. I don't know. It could be the system, it could be the individuals that aren't working hard enough themselves off the field. So only they know that. But in terms of what they have going forward, there's a little bit of a glimmer with the bat in hand, but they've got to get those bowlers back.
So basically, they have flattered to deceive for many tournaments now. But that was our talk about Sri Lanka. And that was short compared to the talk that now we have to have about the other team that was playing tonight and has not qualified. Why have they not qualified? Let's just show you what has happened. Quick summary of the day. Sri Lanka won the toss, put Pakistan into bat. Went really well. There was a 176-run opening partnership between Saibzada Farhan, who has become the highest scorer of any T20 World Cup, overtaking Virat Kohli, no less. got a new opening partner in Fakhar Zaman today, who also batted really well, 84 to 200 strike rate. They got a 176 run opening partnership, which allowed Pakistan to get to 212, which is not something that, we've seen them get very often. And there was fearless batting from the two of them. They really had Sri Lanka running for cover, helter-skelter everywhere. The bowlers just couldn't match up. Madhushankar was good towards the end, picked up 3 wickets finally, and Dasan Chanaka, the captain, also had 2. And when Sri Lanka came into bat, this is what the target for Pakistan was. Pakistan had to ensure that they wrap up Sri Lanka less than 148. That would take Pakistan's net run rate above New Zealand's and make them qualify for the semi-final along with England from that group. But that didn't happen. And the strange thing that happened is after Sri Lanka crossed 148, it's almost like you felt, obviously you understand Pakistan, you're on the field and you're not qualifying now, even if you win the game. I mean, their shoulders did droop a bit, right? The shoulders droop a bit, and I guess you understand that. And their bowling also went a little wayward. But today, besides Abrar, nobody seemed to be a mystery for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, we've built up Usman Tariq quite a bit, and he's flattered to deceive in the last couple of games. I think people are starting to play him a lot better. Shaheen Shah Afridi has had one good game against England. Before and after, he's obviously had a quiet World Cup. Shadab Khan, they haven't trusted enough, and he hasn't delivered. Mohammad Nawaz looks very ordinary whenever he's bowled in this tournament. Even today, he came in and picked up a wicket, but the second over that he bowled was nowhere close to how he should have bowled, considering a man has picked up his first wicket. So, overall, I thought Naseem Shah actually, in all fairness, started quite nicely. It was the last over when he went for runs. That's understandable. I still feel the fact that there was dew and the ball was slightly wet, I can cut him some slack. But the Pakistan team will look at themselves and again go very similar to Sri Lanka, saying, why can't we play in such a liberated manner at the start of the tournament? What is stopping us from doing it? Why are we hesitant? Are we not sure about our skills, or is it the fact that we don't believe in our system, that a couple of failures might put us under a lot of pressure? This did look like their best 11 in terms of power-packed batting all the way up to 7, and then they have the bowlers who are there to back it up. I would still say that Pakistan should go back and look at themselves and say, what could we have done better? Because they did look the team to beat in this tournament, because they were the only team playing the same venue across the whole tournament. They knew their conditions. They backed it up with a lot of spinners, and eventually the batting a lot of the times has scored under par quite a few times, and that has put them under a lot of pressure. The bowling has still been acceptable because it's been conditions which has helped the bowlers, but they are so dependent on their spinners on these pitches. But for the Pakistan that we all have grown up watching, it was all about the pacers dominating it, and that is not happening for some time now.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, it's interesting because today there was a lot of people who were obviously thinking that Pakistan can go through to the semi-final, but this is the same team that started with a complete stutter against Netherlands. I mean, they almost lost that game, right? I mean, you had to have Fahim Ashraf come in the end and play that blinder to get them across. I mean, if they had lost that game, it's safe to say their World Cup would have been over just then.
Yeah, and it's Pakistan cricket, and that performance against the Netherlands didn't surprise me. It just didn't surprise me. I look at Pakistan and they have the talent. I'll watch the Pakistan Super League in a few weeks' time. And in every single team, I'll pick out 4 or 5 Pakistani players and go, whew, can play. So they have the talent. That's number one. So first and foremost, to be a good cricket team, you need players. I think Pakistan have got players. Okay. But to see Fakhar Zaman only get the opportunity to open the batting in the last game, and he gets 84 or 42, he's got to open on a consistent basis. And then you see Abrar Ahmed come in and get 3 for 23. Again, you go, why hasn't he been playing? So I do think they've got the players. I just think there's a lot that goes on in terms of how you select teams for Pakistan. There's obviously a lot of outside influence. If you could just strip away all that, and I know it's difficult, and just pick the best teams and get the best minds to pick those teams, and I think Mike Hesson is a very, very good cricket brain, as was Jason Gillespie, who was coach of Pakistan, as many other overseas coaches gone into coach the Pakistan team, but it just doesn't seem to work. Even though they have a little bit of success, they then get rid of that coach. Eventually, they're going to have to stick with a backroom team just for a period.
Yeah.
Just give them a couple of years working together with the group, picking the best players, and I think they'll get back on track quite quickly. I never ever look at Pakistan and think they're struggling for talent. I think the talent, the skill, bit of mystery, bit of pace, The effort's always there. The body language is sometimes a bit vulnerable in the field, but that can be worked on. That's probably just a confidence thing. But I always think, if DK's done a bit of coaching. I think there's a lot of coaches. If you stripped away all the politics of the noise that comes from outside and said they're just your players to work with as a coach, I think there'll be many, many coaches in the world go, thank you very much, I'll take Pakistan, because they always have the talent.
I have a follow-up question to what you said. You said that they have a lot of outside influence in selection, right? What happens, DK, with the team that when the rest, the 10, you have one guy where you feel like this is outside influence, it's not 100% on merit. My selection is on merit, your selection, 10 other guys sitting in their selection's been on merit, and you feel maybe one guy, two guys, they've kind of not taken that same route that we took. Can that cause resentment in the ranks?
Yes and no. Yes, because obviously when there is an outcast of one, it does make a difference. But I feel for Babar Azam in his own skin, when he knows at times that probably he shouldn't be part of the playing 11 and he still is for whatever reason, that could put a unnecessary amount of pressure on him. A similar situation I thought was in 2021. Temba Bavuma was the captain, and it almost felt like he wasn't fitting into that 11, but they were made him the captain. And then eventually, when he moved away from the T20 setup, he became a much better test player. It kind of liberated him to become the best version of himself in the other formats. With Pakistan, I'll say no, because he's such a mercurial player that a lot of players will get confidence looking at seeing someone like him in the dressing room. It's only when the results don't go, you're thinking, is that style of play probably suited to what we require in T20 cricket now? So there is both sides to the coin. And also what Michael said, I was thinking about who all were the coaches. Matthew Hayden, in 2021, when Pakistan reached the final in the first time beating India in a World Cup, Matthew Hayden was part of the support staff. Yeah. I haven't seen him participate in Pakistan cricket ever after that.
Because he won.
That was the last. I haven't seen him participate.
You've seen Waqar Younis. You've seen so many. Pretty much.
Misbah-ul Haq, Waqar Younis. Yeah. But I'm just saying, Matthew is the name that came to mind. I was thinking, oh yeah, he was there. I've never seen him be in any Pakistan team after. I don't know what happened. So, when somebody's come and actually given you results, you went to the final of that World Cup or semi-finals of that World Cup, but you haven't continued with that. So very interesting how their cricket works.
Gary Kirsten as well.
Gary Kirsten
left the Gujarat job midway because he had got the Pakistan job, so he went there. So, they've run through a few.
Sri Lanka as well, they've gone back and forth. They've had Chandika Thrusingha, then they've had, now it's Jayasuriya. In between that, there was somebody else. Graham Ford was there, Chris Silverwood. But anyway, the point is, you speak to them and they'll tell you a few stories about how sometimes they are forced to do certain things, which against the grain of what they would ideally do. And that's something that, for example, in India, in the lead up to the World Cup, the one player that actually wasn't in form was Surya Kumar Yadav for quite a long time. But there's no doubts about whether he should be in the squad or whether he should be in the captain. We were just hoping that he'll come into form, which he did eventually. And then things settle down. If suddenly he was just removed and somebody else is good, it'll just disrupt and there'll be a lot of dysfunction in a team. So it's always something that you need to admire about our own cricket to an extent, because of how well those kind of influences don't happen. And also look at Sri Lanka or Pakistan and say, if they had a lot more stability back room, things will look very different. And like Michael says, I also believe there's a lot of talent there, potential there. You could easily have 20, 25 players who are good enough, but sadly, the results don't reflect
You've got a great point with this revolving door of coaches for both Sri Lanka and Pakistan. And it just takes me back to every IPL where we're having the same discussion about the Punjab team. Right, who have had an all-stars 11 as captains in their 18 seasons. They've got an all-star 11 as coaches. And you see it. So, just for Indian fans and world cricket fans to give them context, when you don't have any longevity, you have to give some tenure, some security. Because if I'm a player and I'm seeing the backroom staff changing all the time, I'm like, well, that could change with me as well. It's almost like you're in a job and your boss changes every 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, but I do think some players have a huge amount of power probably above them, and if they're not quite liking the coach or what's happening within the team, I think obviously things happen and then the powers that be get involved, and that's why you probably get the revolving door as a coach over there. It's frustrating because I love watching Pakistan play. I arrived today excited because I knew they'd play a better game, because it's like free hit, go and play. The talent's there. It's just unleashing. It's like it's almost as if they're sometimes playing with their legs tied together. They need to be released just to go and run and play and just free themselves up to strike the ball and take on the opposition. Always look for the positive option, not the safe option. And I think when they're looking for the real positive option, they're a very, very dangerous against every team in the world. You know, it's still now, maybe not so much as maybe 5 or 10 years ago, but still now, I still feel teams arrive to play Pakistan going, oh,
Fair.
which Pakistan team's arriving? Because if the really good Pakistan team arriving, it doesn't mean changing just the mentality. You know you're in for a game of cricket.
You know,
whether it's the
before every tournament, Gaurav, you also ask top 4 semi-finalists, and you're looking at it and going, Pakistan proper contender. Should I put them in? Should I put them in? Then you're trying to think, okay, which side of the bed they would have got up for this tournament, and you're saying maybe not. Whatever, you know, you get my.
There's 2 sides of the bed that they wake up from. One is risk averse and one is risk taking.
Correct.
Right, and you don't know what happens. But does it happen? I mean, you also, when I look at it outside in just life, in any stream of work that you do, any job that you do, you take the risk when you have the security, right? There's a certain security you have, and somebody gives it to you, whether you've earned it yourself or someone gives it to you and says, all right, buddy, don't worry. You fly. If you fall, we've got a net for you, right? Which is what we've heard from Indian cricket so much. I mean, Abhishek Sharma said it. Virendra Sehwag has said it about Saurav Ganguly when they sent him to open. You can take the risk when, you know, in a way, your job's not under threat, right? Is that also something that is hampering? Is that the fear as well? In Pakistan, there's a little bit of fear there because you don't know what's going to happen. Will they just chop and change? Will they drop you? Will you just be out in the cold?
Oh, I mean, you're talking from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, coaching perspective,
player,
from the team, from the player perspective.
I think more the players.
For the
feel
player
that.
perspective,
yeah.
yeah.
I think, I mean, you look at the Sri Lankan and the Pakistan team, it's, you know, we've probably spoken when you say, oh, what's the team going to be for the next game? You look at it and you no idea.
Yeah, because the other day you picked Shaheen Afridi as the player to watch out for. Like, he hasn't played in 2 games.
Yeah, but that was only because I knew the left arm against Joss Butler.
Fair enough.
Most teams want a left arm against Joss, so I knew that was going to be on the cards. But generally, when you're trying to decide upon the Pakistan team, you kind of go,
No idea.
you know, you can talk about 4 or 5 different players, whereas, you know, India, England, the West Indies, it's only ever one really. And that's because of the conditions.
Yeah.
And it's very rarely in competition time. You look at Joss Butler, there's no ounce of a conversation that Joss Butler will miss out.
Yeah.
You know, he's earned the right, and he's probably not the right player to kind of highlight this point to. But, you know, India, all right, they've put Sanju back in now at the top of the order, but it's only one change. Yeah. You know, you look at the West Indies, they generally go Roston Chase or Akil Hussain or a Ford, you know, depending on the pitch. Rayan Armour came in for England last night because of the pitch. Jamie Everton misses out. So every now and again, the better teams might just change one player because of the surface. Very, very rarely in competition time do the top teams drop a player because of form. They just stay consistent. And those players know, unless there's an injury, you know, you're going to keep playing in the team as long as you play your role. And that's the key. And I think Pakistan have got the players. They just had them in the wrong roles. They've had a player in there. And look, Babar Azam was one of my favourite players. And I think if he gave up T20 cricket, his 50 overs game and test game will have a flourishing last few years of his career. I think he's that good. I think he can part T20 cricket now. I think for Pakistan to move forward, they don't need that style of play. The game's moved on.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 10 years ago, a Babar style player was perfect for T20 cricket, but the game's moved on now. You need players that can go out there and assess and then go, bosh, hit the sixes. Look at Shanaka, that's what you need. Yeah. Those kind of players that can get you back in the game by hitting 3 or 4 quick sixes. Will Jack style player, Rayan Ahmed last night, bosh, couple of sixes into the stands. They're the players that are required in this modern era of T20 cricket. So they've got some decisions to make, but as I said before, the talent will be there and there'll be youngsters coming through in Pakistan that can really push, and sometimes they'll have to be brave and saying, okay, the T20 team, let's start afresh. You know, there'll be 7 or 8 of this team that are going to go forward with us, but we're going to bring in a few others that are really aggressive, you know, can whack the ball and can be brilliant in the field and bowl a bit of mystery and move forward with a new set of players. And if you have to get rid of a Shaheen Shah Afridi or Babar Azam, you know what, that's fine. Yeah. They can play 50-over cricket, test match cricket. But for Pakistan to move forward in this format, they might have to be brave in selection and go with a new kind of fresh set of players. And not many, but a fresh approach, fresh mindset. I think they can move forward quite quickly.
I like that plan. And then 6 weeks from now, you have new management, and then they do that again.
And then Babar comes back in.
Yeah, it requires a change top down because, like I said, it's only when your bosses give you that security do you want to go out and, you know, you're sure about taking that risk. And today, well, you saw they had the right people in the right position and you saw what can happen. So, yeah, with both these teams, there's a lot to discuss, not just with what they did on the field, but what happens with them off the field in terms of the management, in terms of the support they get for injury management, etc., etc. So, yeah, but the stories from this group, both these teams today are out. There's no Sri Lanka, there's no Pakistan, and England and New Zealand will qualify. New Zealand must send a very big gift hamper to Dasun Shanaka, saying, thank you, buddy. You did us a solid. He really did today. New Zealand will heave a sigh of relief, but will also kick themselves a little bit because they're too good a team to be in this position. They put themselves in this position. Like they say, it's all in your own hands. But they put themselves in this position.
They did. Sadly, they played some solid cricket up until that game. That one game that got rained out actually came back to bite them pretty hard because they lost one game, but they won one game as well. So in a Super 8 stage, when you're playing good teams, sometimes that can happen. I feel New Zealand at the start of the tournament will definitely make it to the semi-final, and lo and behold, they have reached eventually. Now they'll be playing their semi-final match in Kolkata against South Africa on the 4th, and that's going to be a very good contest as well, because what New Zealand have done is play this bilateral in India in the lead up to the World Cup, so they'll know the conditions quite nicely.
There you go. We finally know where it's going to happen and who's going to play. That's the most important. I mean, you just didn't know where to book a ticket for, right? Where do you go? Where are you going to watch? Which country? What visa do you need? Well, now you know. Both the semi-finals will happen in India, 4th
But don't
in
come
Kolkata.
through Dubai.
Sorry?
Don't come through Dubai.
Yeah.
You can't actually.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. Just row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. 2 games tomorrow, right? Very important games tomorrow. First one, Zimbabwe, South Africa. South Africa will want to do the same to Zimbabwe that India and West Indies have done. Well, no disrespect to Zimbabwe, but South Africa would also want to dominate because they want to go, of course, with 6 points clean slate. But then comes, can I call this a quarterfinal? It is.
You should.
It's a quarterfinal.
Yeah.
India versus West Indies, the quarterfinal tomorrow. Wow. Things have got interesting. As Jim Carrey said, that's a spicy meatball. I like it a lot. All right, guys, talk about this game. Calcutta.
Yeah.
India, West Indies. Go.
First thing,
Yes.
hopefully there's no rain. Because if rain comes, then obviously it's West Indies' game. Their net run rate is higher. Let's start there. Very negative way to look at it, but I'm just saying.
No, fair enough. You're getting it out of the way. You're like, let's just get this out of the way. I've looked at it. There is, I think, a 3% chance of rain tomorrow.
Great. So that's out of the way.
Yeah, I made that up, but basically it's very low.
But surely in India you've got a royal wedding back in the UK. There's never been rain because they spray things in the air that stops any kind of rain coming. So surely you've got a spray that stops.
Yeah, well, like room freshness.
I don't know what it is, but it's never rained on a royal day.
Are you serious?
Nah, never.
And that too in the UK, because in London it rains
You
like
say the UK
14 times a day.
there's more of a chance of rain in the UK. So they've managed to kind of stop the rain on those kind of days. So surely India have the power.
India.
Or are the Royals free tomorrow to fly down and do something in
I
Calcutta?
think the Royals have got other things on at the minute.
They do.
They
Quite busy.
They have got their hands full. Sorry, what? Sorry. So we're talking about the negative scenarios taken out of the way. Now West Indies, India.
Yes. First up, it's a good toss to win because it's a better ground to chase.
Yeah.
If India do end up batting first, India would look to get a score which is above par because West Indies have some powerful batters.
Yeah.
And one thing that they do quite nicely is they are not fearful of taking on the power play right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And the one key wicket for me is to try and get Hetmeyer in early and get him out before the spinners come on. But what he is doing is taking on spinners without thinking twice. He's such a key wicket for India that he almost determines how they play spin. The rest of the batting lineup isn't as good as Hetmeyer is, playing wrist spin and mystery spin. So a key wicket would be Shimron Hetmeyer for India to control the game.
The one thing with the West Indies also is, like DK saying, they go for it at the power play. It doesn't matter to them if they lose 4 wickets. They still just keep going and they somehow still manage to get to scores because they're batting up till like...
Yeah, but I still think when they get the big scores, they give themselves 2 or 3 overs just to get set at the start.
Yeah.
King and Shea Hope generally just play and then they start to get into their rhythm. They've got all the power. I mean, I can't imagine that Akhil Hussein's not going to play.
He'll play tomorrow.
So he'll play tomorrow, probably at the expense maybe of Ford or maybe Roston Chase.
Yeah.
So he'll certainly be bowling in the power play. But they've got all the power. They've got players in form. They've been in a confident mood, apart from that performance against South Africa, where South Africa was just too good on the day. They're a very good team. They're very confident. They've got everything covered. I like their bowling attack. I think it's got enough that will challenge the Indian side. I just get a sense with India getting that break, South Africa beating the West Indies, hammering Zimbabwe. I just feel that India now are on the charge, and it'd be a huge surprise to me if India didn't play really well. So the West Indies, I know India will turn up and play a good game of cricket. And if the West Indies turn up and play like they did against South Africa, they'll get beat. They've got to get back to the way that they were playing at the Wankhede. Against England, against Zimbabwe, where they were dominating. Particularly against England, I thought they played a really good game because they were struggling. They were 4 down quite quickly. And then they got 195 by power at the end. Jason Holder played a great cameo, Rutherford. And then with the ball in hand, they were tremendous. The spin, all the variations, they were great in the field. And you feel for the West Indies to beat India tomorrow, they're going to have to bring their A game. If they do, it's going to be a great game of cricket.
Yeah, it is a quarterfinal. So whoever wins tomorrow, along with South Africa, goes through to the semi-finals. I just want to ask you a little bit about the Calcutta pitch, because today Pallikaili surprised us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'd seen low and slow here, we'd seen Kasita pitches here, but today it was a run fest. What do we expect in the Eden Gardens tomorrow?
Generally, one of the best pitches to bat on during the IPL. But strangely, in the league phase, it hasn't been as good. There's been a bit of turn, it's been slow, a bit tacky, so teams have struggled batting there. But what it is a jet outfield and not the biggest one as well. So you can hit a lot of boundaries there. I have a very strange composition of what West Indies 11 could look like. When we get to it, we'll talk about it.
Let's do it now.
Yes, I feel they will let go of Brandon King and they will bring in Akhil Hussain. So then they get the best of both worlds, which is Roston Chase, the off spinner, and Akhil Hussain, the left arm spinner.
Okay.
India have been vulnerable against off spin lately. So if they do that, Brandon King hasn't got much runs for them. So then they almost kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
So who goes in first with Shea Hope?
Roston Chase.
Roston Chase will open the batting.
That's what I feel. He's not got any runs at all so far in this tournament.
Yeah.
And in the lead up to the tournament as well. So it's a big decision. Having off spin has really troubled India in the power play. So that is a decision that I feel they could take.
I like these kind of
I like this.
tactical manoeuvres.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm a fan. I like this. Because Roston Chase, another player who not that effective at 5 and 6, right? Would be more effective as an opener.
Yeah.
If he has to get some runs, his chance is best to open. Also solid on one side, so that gives Shea Hope a license, because he's been losing Brandon King early.
Correct.
On a lot of days. Shea Hope's not exactly carried his SAT20 form into this.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I like it for multiple. I like it a lot. I like it. You can see Michael's impressed.
Well, I like the idea of the off spinner against India. I agree. I think if you've got a good off spinner, or he's an indifferent off spinner, he kind of just fires it in there. He's got the ability to kind of skid one on as well. He bowled some nice balls to the England players actually.
Yeah.
But at this stage of the tournament, will they make that change? We'll have to wait and see. But the one thing that the West Indies will have to do is get their team right. As soon as they played South Africa and we saw no Akhil Hussain, we went, before they get on, no, that doesn't look right. He's their gun power play bowler. Generally, you get 3 out of the 6 from Akhil Hussain. And I think that's where, I look at the Indian way of playing. Someone like Sanju Samson, if he's going to face Akhil Hussain, will he bat outside off stump? I've been amazed that right-handers keep batting on leg stump to him. And he bowls that ball that's angled in and to get kind of restricted of room. He packs that offside field. He has mid-on back, mid-wicket back. So he's basically saying to the right-hander, go on, try and hit me through the offside. It's quite tight.
Yeah.
And they all try and give themselves room and to get tucked up. And I'm going, if you bat outside off stump and say to him, go on, bowl up my stumps, I'm just going to flick you over there where you've got no fielders. And then he'll have to go a bit wide and it open up the offside that little bit more so. And even if he goes a bit wide, he'll be able to sweep it in front of square, maybe get one of those away as well. So I just want to see a right-hander do something completely different to Akhil Hussain, because so far I've seen no one try anything. They've all tried to stay orthodox on kind of middle and leg, and he's just going, firing it in, and they're all getting kind of tucked up for any kind of width. So if Sanju's facing him, I'd love to see him bat on off stump.
That's what I was going to ask. I said, but will India have a right-hander or not? Because
Samson,
no,
yeah.
I mean obviously he's playing really well, but
He's going to play.
You can't change that Indian 11 now. It's too late.
Yeah.
You have stumbled upon that 11 just like Pakistan did.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best 11. You have the best of both worlds, which is a solid left-right combination. And every time they've got a good start, they've ended up scoring 200 plus. And yes, Rinku Singh, the middle order batsman, it's very unfair on him. I completely agree because he's hardly got an opportunity to bat. And you're now, but that's purely combination based. And in fact, a step further, it's a form based thing. If the openers gotten going, like we saw what an Abhishek Sharma and Nishan Kishan can do together as well against New Zealand in the bilateral, but sadly they haven't. So then you need to complement what needs to be done.
yeah.
So I feel that what they need to do is stick to that same 11. I also feel there's one temptation which they will think, but I don't think they should do. It's Kuldeep Yadav.
Another one coming. Another one loading. Put the 11 up. Who's he playing for?
That's what I wouldn't play him, but that he will make the conversation because West Indies haven't played wrist spin that well. So that is a conversation that they will have. Though in this team, if you want to play Kuldeep, it has to be at the expense of Arshdeep Singh, which I wouldn't do.
All right, so you stick with that gun batting lineup here again. I mean, when you have Samson opening with Abhishek, you have Ishan Kishan. There's destruction right down through till the end. So two very destructive batting lineups against each other in Kolkata. It's basically going to be who bowls better, right? Who's got more mystery? Who's got more variation? Well, I mean, West Indies has got variation in their bowling attack as well, but not like India's. India's got more X-factor bowlers, and especially X-factor zone bowlers as well. When you add Hardik up front with the new ball, or you add Arshdeep, towards the end nailing his Yorkers, add it to Varun and Bumrah. Obviously, India has more X-factor bowlers, but a player to watch out for from each team. India?
For me, Shimron Hetmeyer for West Indies, and for India, I am looking forward to a Sanju Samson special.
All right, I like it.
Abhishek found form. He's going to have a night out tomorrow. And for the West Indies, I'm going to say, who should I say? I mean, you've said Hetmeyer, haven't you? I'm going to go Jason Holder as an all-rounder.
Oh,
He'll have a nice cameo and he'll bowl nicely as well. So Jason Holder.
that's what I was picking. I was going with Hardy and Holdy.
Nice. It's a good combo. You can go for one slightly stockier man, Romario Sheppy.
There you go, Sheppy.
Yeah.
All right, good. So I'll do that. I'll do Panda and Shepherd. Yeah, there you go. I got him both. Let's show you what happened in the guessing game today, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody get anything right today?
I think I might have done
only one person got something wrong today.
I switch
And
off
here
at
he
this
is.
point. I think you should talk to Michael. I have no interest in the show after this.
Yeah.
Have a conversation.
Have you got North from two?
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah. This is what DK does, by the way. DK just doesn't want to talk to any of us after the show's over. He's like, I will talk to you. You paid the money. Otherwise, you're not my friends. Bring it. Oh, look at that smug shot. I call it a smug shot now. Murli Karthik's that's not a mug shot. That's a smug shot.
Michael Vaughan is acing it.
But Murali doesn't. Well, he's not been in for the last few days.
That's right.
Oh,
He's coming tomorrow, apparently.
is he?
He's coming tomorrow to get
he's a double header as well.
Yeah, he's coming in tomorrow to get 4
And I
out of
heard
4
he's
wrong.
good on double-headed days.
Yeah. He'll be decent. But he's due a fair.
I'm guessing he's going to get all 4 wrong tomorrow. We're going to have a new smug
You're
shot.
not guessing, you're hoping.
No, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Not even guessing. I'm informing you that that's what's going to happen. Who's number 2 on that list? Who's number 2? Look at it. Saimi's going to be number 1 tomorrow. That's it. She's going to be number 1 tomorrow. Let's go. Or Tanya, one of them. Come on.
DK,
Girl power.
you've got 2 bullseyes, but you're below me. I'm amazed that you're below me.
Yeah,
That's quite an effort, to be fair.
He's so.
Because I'll tell you something. Only the bullseyes matter.
You should have 2 kind of stars by your name.
Yeah, I should.
You should. I totally agree.
In life itself, I feel you should have a star, but okay. At least
Oh, look at him. That is so sweet. That's a good note to end on. I don't want to show you the joy factor question. I need to show you. It was some Pepsi question. Pepsu. It's a Pepsu question. What connects Gwalior, Eastern Punjab, Western India, Sindh, Patiala, and Southern Punjab?
National Highway.
Huh?
National Highway.
National Highway. National Highway, the rail network. I said a slow state bus. It's none of them. Show it. All former teams that once played in the Ranji
And
Trophy.
I want to say...
Bring the question back now. Bring the question back now.
Who that clever person who's got this right?
Yeah, bring the question back because we want to see the names again. I want to see the names that he picked out Gwalior, Eastern Punjab, Western India, Sindh, Patiala. Patiala played as Pepsu.
Don't even try explaining. I mean, going down that abbreviation route.
Whoever's got that, they're really struggling in life. Because on a Saturday, if you're getting that question right, you're not going out, are you?
This is the only show where you win a contest and get an insult.
But has anyone got it right?
Of course, many.
Really?
First person to get the correct answer.
Batman.
Yeah, it was Batman.
He works in the night, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. So he was free at 7. The signal doesn't come on till at least 10:30. So
Get on his Batmobile and roam around Gotham City.
So, he's not there, by the way, right now to even know that he's won, because
He's from Guntur. He's the Guntur Gotham. I'm going mad. I think we need to stop the show now.
He's out fighting crime and trying to save the city. So I'm told that it's not the first person to get the right answer, but the lucky winner. So which means that many people got this right, and you're the lucky one who gets insulted by Michael Vaughan here. So there you go. There's your grand prize. Couldn't get any better than that. We'll be here tomorrow, Sunday, at 2:30 p.m. There's 2 games tomorrow from India's group. So Zimbabwe, South Africa is the first game, and then India and West Indies, the quarterfinal, is going to happen in the evening. We're going to be here with you all day. So do join us on Cricbuzz Live. Big thank you to Michael Vaughan and Dinesh Karthik. Thanks, gents. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks all of you. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Good night.